Me paso fumando bajo las palmeras. Si me cae un coco en la cabeza y me borra mi vida entera. Veo parejitas dándose besos y me da de entera. Va a tirarle radio para el mar si sale sin bandera. Porque no puedo escuchar canciones de romance. Me cansa que de pensar en ti no me canse. El último pétalo me dijo que aún hay chance. No sé si es verdad pero si va a volver avance. Por favor, aunque sea un mensaje antes que salga el sol. Que en la mañana coja alegría buscando tu olor. Tantos trofeos y aún me siento perdedor. Perdedor, búscame el encendedor. Ey, que si no te olvido me voy a mudar pa' Chile, pa' Argentina o pa' El Salvador. Pero denme en el like el día, por favor, que antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Ay, yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Ay, yo te voy a olvidar, girl. Ey, 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 me estoy ahogando y a la ola le pedí socorro. Escribo tu nombre en la arena a ver si así lo borro. Pero tus labios y tus ojos los tengo de gorro. No sales de mi cabeza, otra fila y otra cerveza. Ya tu recuerdo me pesa. Te disfrazaste de rubí y eras Teresa. Pero soy un pendejo y todavía me interesa. Ey, ey, saber de tu paradero y preguntarte si fue verdadero o si estás bola como avión y yo fui pasajero. Que cojones todavía yo te quiero. Oh, oh. Los muchachos dicen que yo estoy charreando. Oh, oh. Ay, pero en bajita seguimos quemando. Y antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar, girl. Y antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te felices pa' que yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar, girl.
You care for me when no one else is there for me. You provide I truly did love you. I still do, but not in the same way. Take it.
You think I wanna fall in love when I'm not, babe? You want a life as a wife, but that's not my day. You be at home all alone looking at the rain. I'm just gonna tell you straight, baby, I'm a I'm just gonna tell you straight. You think I wanna fall in love? You want a life as a wife? You be at home all alone looking for a second outside you. No estaba esperando nada de encontrarme contigo anoche. Solo era una más, una noche linda, algo especial. Pero algo está tan diferente, todo alrededor me gira de repente. Tú y yo cambio el singular, sin miedo papito, ven y dame más. Ven sin miedo, sin barullo, no te cierres a este mundo, fluye ahora. Ven conmigo, no intentes definirlo y ven acá, amor, ven acá y déjame entrar. Ven acá, amor, ven acá y déjame entrar.
Lo siento, bebé. No trates de enamorarme o no te hago coro. Hace tiempo que de nadie yo no me enamoro. Y estoy puesto pa' usted, pa' hacerlo otra vez, pero mi tiempo es oro. No con nadie me amoro. Lo siento, bebé. No trates de enamorarme o no te hago coro.
All right, what's up, guys? Let's dive in here. All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? All right. Okay, so we saw some nice volatility with pre PCE and then PCE specifically. So we saw everything pump here, especially Dow, big pump to the upside, and then NQ comes crashing down. So NQ here giving a familiar setup, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, right before we do all that, let me say what up in here. Blessed Friday. What's up, Maite? Corey, what up, Marty? Lonnie, good to see you on the live session. Luis, Blip, what's up, Paul Song? What up, my G? Justina, Gabriel, ¿qué tal? Jesus, we got Edwin in here. What's up, Seth? Joe, Alfredo, Harshi, finishing the week strong. What up, cuz? What's up, Karen, Hector, Salvador? Yeah, let's get it. Morning. Yo, gang. There we go. Brandon, Dan, praying my 2 trades hit TP so I can finally pass my challenge. I wish you the best. What are your thoughts on continued longs on NAS? Well, you know, I was so I'm actually holding a buy still from down here. But I'm not sure if we might still work our way further down with NASDAQ. I'm not 100% here. Only because we basically see, one second. We basically see YM pump really well up here and then barely pull back at all. So I think YM might hold this structure. And then it looks like NQ is just a bit more bearish compared to NASDAQ. So I'm just curious if we're going to get a pullback, kind of a shakeout for a sell. And then if NASDAQ's going to work its way finally down to this entry that I had from yesterday. And then yesterday, because I took a NASDAQ buy here, basically this was a 5-minute setup here. You know, we had a big sweep of liquidity. So just to give you guys an example, we saw the market, you know, open up aggressively, push all the way down to here. This clears out, you know, tons of buyers, retail buyers, fills in some imbalance. And so after we got that, we then shifted momentum. So we see that shift in structure. And the market is trading up above here for hours. We're talking about 3 hours plus. So that's quite a bit of structure here. So once we get the push down into this imbalance, especially into this last order block, I took a position out of here. And then, yeah, just let it run. So, what's up, Lucio? So this was the mitigation or shakeout setup. I think I'd call it more of a mitigation, just because we did break structure, and then we played out of imbalance, out of the order block, and then we ran, and then taking it to just equal highs. So at the end of the day, if you're trading props, you still would have got a really good exit. So I was considering holding this for, you know, maybe a few weeks, just kind of letting this thing ride out, because it does look like we may have caught the low of the structure and the market can just continue to rally. So that would be a really, really nice hold. That would turn into such an amazing play. Because right now, for example, like just now, this thing was going right about a 5R before it pulled back. So I'm sitting at like a 3.5R here. So the only reason I'm second guessing this, or not even second guessing, but just responding to the information, is only because Nasdaq is the one that dropped right back a lot faster, whereas Dow Jones is staying up here. It's still trading up in this zone, so I could see Dow. If for example, if Dow Jones comes down right now, that might push Nasdaq down even further. Or, and this is the way that I'm really looking at this, we just saw Nasdaq take out London session highs, Asian session highs, New York session highs, and traded into this imbalance from Thursday's London session. So it just looks like this move to the upside was not to create bullish structure, but to clear liquidity. So with New York open, I think we could see a short out of this area. I think we could see something like this instead, where we see the market just come back up into the zone and then continue to sell off. Responsibly, we could see it play out of here somewhere, just kind of work its way down to this area. So I could see a sell like this, and then ride this out at least to like this zone, so something like this. And depending on how we see the pullback, it might be a little lower, but somewhere in here, I think we can get a good play. And then, so that's my hesitation right now with longing. So I think we're really close to indices playing out, and maybe it does. We'll kind of see right now. We'll see how this thing unfolds. But yeah, the other side of the coin is that the market wants to still get to here, basically, is like the other perspective. So I could see the market get down here. So I know S&P mitigated. I know Dow Jones yesterday mitigated. It's actually played out so fucking perfectly. Oh my God, this was so good. And I took Nasdaq, so I'm not really, I have zero concern about this trade, but it was cool. It was just cool to see how precise we nailed this thing, and where it's been at now, where it went to. So, but that's also why I took the trade. Yesterday we had Dow getting exactly to those lows, playing out of these last points of supply over here, and it timed in perfectly with Nasdaq. So yeah, we have New York Open happening literally right now, and I'm just gonna put these side by side. That's so we can get a good indication of how the market's playing out. We're seeing Nasdaq still already pushing lower, which, like I said, I wanted to see if we pull back first, because now we're basically starting to get just better indication on where momentum's really going, and right now we're kicking things off. Yeah, bearish. So let's see. Let's see how we do things over here. All right. So we're starting to, tank, fill in balance. Look at the difference in structure, which is what we can talk about on the left side. So what makes sense then? What can we take a long position here with Dow Jones at some point somewhere, Now I know some people are going to want to buy right here. We see a nice little push down, clears out some of this London session lows, and then goes higher. So I kind of get that, but the one that I'm basically most focused on is trading the buy on Dow Jones over here. So this to me looks like where we would actually get quality reversals and everything. So because you see here's where the market tanks, clears even more buyers, and then pulls back, and we start to trade up in this range. So this is where I think we would have a delayed drop back into this area. I'm sure you might get a bounce out of here, but I would say this is a lower probability play. Básicamente, creo que la compra de más alta probabilidad es de aquí abajo. Tenemos una captura de liquidez sin balance. Aquí estamos creando mejor como estructura. Entonces creo que podríamos ver algo por aquí. Más que todo. Okay, so we saw this crash. We saw the market with Nasdaq want to fill in balance. Now it's ripping again. So we don't create any bearish structure at all. Like at all. This thing just shows us, yeah, actually we really don't want to trade down here. So I'm not so sure if I want to sell this thing, because yes, the market captures liquidity. Yes, we work our way back down, but then we fail to create any bearish structure. There's no demand for the market down here. So now this looks a little bit riskier. Yes, it's still trading, further. It's not trading as bullish as Dow. Dow is about to, get above the previous highs it just made after the news event. So I don't know if I've really been in too many of these trading scenarios, to be honest. Typically, a shakeout like this where you see a capture of liquidity, the market basically wants to do a break and retest. Typically, we don't see a big move like this, and then it just lose all that momentum. So I can't say I've really traded this specific setup too often. To really say for sure. I don't know. I think a short here would definitely comes with a little bit more uncharted territory. So I would maybe take a sell with just less risk, or kind of avoid it overall. But yeah, look at what we're seeing over here. Like Dow is leading the movement to the upside for sure. It's very, very, very bullish. If anything, we've now seen a sweep of liquidity again. So the 1 minute could end up creating a totally different setup over here. Sweep of liquidity comes into imbalance, plays out of that news event, and then rallies. So we'll kind of start to see. But look at this. Now Dow is starting to create a wick as well. So interesting. Yeah, I think since we're moving with the trend, we've been moving bullish. I think I'm not gonna sell. I'm not convinced on this idea anymore, because the trade has changed. Like this has evolved. And I want to see what happens here. I want to see what this may turn into. So I'm gonna give this some time, give it some info. Just let it give me more data. If it does play out, then that whatever it is, what it is. I'd rather just come from a place of experience rather than just kind of guessing or whatever. And I mean, for all I know here, now that Dow has cleared liquidity up here, another round of liquidity trading all the way up here. Maybe some of you shorted here. But yeah, maybe we now actually end up seeing a different kind of trade over here. So I'm going to let the market just kind of print, give us more information, considering that we've been bullish and we saw this capture liquidity. So this specifically shows us that there was less interest in the market at these prices. That yes, the market sold and was bought at these areas, specifically all the way down to here. But this for me is giving me more of a rebalancing liquidity capture rather than a indication that we're in a bearish trend. If the market doesn't really want to, like if the market's willing to pay a premium when the price just went down to here, then we're getting more and more examples that the market actually prefers to trade that it's a fair price is up here rather than down here. So the market getting back up to here, I just don't know if it's going to sell off from this area, if we're going to see an introduction of sellers and push this way back down again. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm not sure really. I don't like my shakeout. This kind of entry model usually doesn't have a move that loses all this momentum within it. So could it play out? Maybe. And I don't really like trading maybes, so I'm gonna stay out. But if anyone here, if you like your setup, then be my guest. Obviously, it's your system, it's your trading. Do your thing. Here with Dow too, right? It takes out liquidity that it just did. It loses momentum. And then as much as it just kind of drops away from here, it's coming right back up too. So I'm also not really convinced on shorts quite yet. Just not enough for me. Some people might want to take something like this. So yeah, I'm chilling. I like my odds. So I'm gonna keep holding my my long. I'm gonna keep holding my buy here, and I'm gonna put my stop profit just right over here. Buenos dias en Cristo, Filmoet. What's up, Larry? Jesus. Staying out, okay. Cool. What about everybody else? Y'all gonna wait for a different setup? Because if this thing keeps rallying, then we might be in the market for another long. We just saw a sweep of liquidity, so basically New York Open kicks things off right here. The market dumps, and then, you know, depending on how this thing continues to move, like we might be looking for more buys over here instead. So if this ends up creating a bullish structure, then yeah, I'm down. So remember, like, what's the worst thing that can happen if you just don't trade, like right now, and you just wait for something that you have a lot more confidence in, you know? So yeah, give yourself time to let the market give you its best, give you the clear signs. Now what we are seeing, right? Look at this. We're seeing kind of a buildup of liquidity. The market is kind of struggling to keep pushing higher, despite Dow Jones still going even higher. So, like I said, I could see it. It's just not like a high probability play, in my opinion. So here we're starting to see this go down. I wouldn't. I don't think I would go for the buy here right now either, just because Dow is trading more bullish. So maybe we bounce out of here. Maybe we don't. We shall see. All right, anyways, we can move on from this. I'll have some alerts. If we like get to here, I'll have an alert set. If we get a little higher, I'll have an alert set too. And then let me turn this down before it get super loud. All right, so we have, all right, let me change this screen up. Now, oil yesterday, let's see. All right, you know what, we'll start with, so yesterday took an L with Euro USD. Honestly, I didn't really come to a conclusion on why. Like, why this pretty typical setup model just didn't play out. Yeah, I don't really know. We just had Australian work its way all the way down to this area from September 4th. It just mitigated that, so if anyone took that, congratulations. The pound also pushed even lower, was waiting for this to get to here. Obviously, we had much more bearish pressure from like Euro, etc. And then, Euro worked its way down to here as well. And then I guess it just needed to trade down to these levels. So prioritized other open positions rather than kind of what I was waiting for. So what's going on with this mouse? Yeah, that's about it, really. So Swiss franc ended up playing out of this last dip down, which actually we talked about yesterday. But I wasn't trading anything there. And then right now, I think we have some clean setups. Let's see. All right, so yeah, they're ripping. Dow is on a mission. Nasdaq's continuing to rally to the upside. So pretty nice to see. Considering how less aggressively Nasdaq is moving compared to Dow, honestly, we might get the sell here, to be fair. But we also did already reject pretty well, so I'm okay with just missing out on anything indices related at the moment. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take my gains here. What was I going to go over? Oh, also just a quick update on Intel. Intel popped up to 35. So some of you are seeing epic gains on Intel right now. Pretty sweet, honestly. Chewy, another nice little bullish day today. I like to see that. But I'll get to stocks a little bit later. So in regards to decision making here, and taking some nice trades. We have gold here that from yesterday basically ends up sweeping liquidity. And I was looking to see a short in here. Kind of saw a little pump right there before everything dropped. You also have silver over here. Silver drops, sells off, and then rallies. So we definitely could see silver over here with the buy as well. Now, NASDAQ is working its way down, guys, in case you were wondering. So it is starting to lose that momentum. So the sell off looks like it's playing out pretty well. I'm not gonna go for a buy. I know this might play out just because we are moving with the trend. So I could see this thing play out here. But I typically don't like to buy the asset that's struggling to move up. Like here, Dow has had a very smooth bullish movement, whereas NASDAQ has really struggled to go higher. So despite that being there, I would rather just focus on getting a good buy position with like Dow Jones instead. So Same thing here. Gonna stay out. I know, Joe, you had some good setups yesterday. I can pull these up. Here we go. Yeah, these guys right here. So you were looking at shorts. What were these? Oh, I think that was an Asian session trade then. Because I remember you had sent a chart in. So I wonder, did it give you a good setup or not? Let's see. Where did you have that trade? Oh, okay. I see it. So it gave a mitigation here. Excuse me. So it basically rejected here, and then the market rallied some more. So you would have had basically, looks like a break-even trade maybe. Okay. Anyways, regarding all that, silver is pumping like crazy while gold is kind of working its way up to these areas, looking to, kind of get to these highs. It's getting pretty close, so maybe we might get a decent short out of here. If you guys look at this, you see some liquidity here, a nice little push up before it all comes crumbling down. So sells in this area are definitely a possibility. That's what we got going on for metals. Let's see, oil over here. Oil it just continues to rally. So look at this thing. We have the oil setup down there, and then yesterday it looked like we were going to push even further down, maybe get into this play. But then, yeah, we just kept pushing higher. So we see the sell-off right here. So you see a nice push to the downside, clears some buyers, chops up. So this is creating more liquidity here. So break and retest entries, and then this thing pops off. Then goes and makes a higher high from here, higher high from up here. So we get bullish structure, and we move sideways for, all of Asian session, going into London. Nice little pullback continuation. So I think we have another play available right there as well with oil. So we have actually quite a few. Oil longs have just been on a mission. So these setups look pretty quality. Let's start building out the setups for today. September, is it 26th already? Where did September go? All right, so oil, boom, and here we go. Okay. Let me pull up silver, because silver we had this nice play too. Yeah, especially if like structure stays bullish here, this could be solid. So we got silver. It's good. I like that we can trade really any asset class and just kind of be open to these opportunities. We got gold here too. All right. And then gold, I like gold as well because of also all of this liquidity that's building up over here. So I feel like we could get a nice short where the market targets all of this liquidity. So in the past, we've rejected this area pretty often. And yeah, I think we can clear this out, like this liquidity here. At least to here. Can we go lower? I think so, but just to keep it fair. An 8R is fire. And even then, we can take an entry a little bit lower if we want to. But yeah, this trade looks good. gold. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we got metals. We got oil. The setup that I was waiting for was with the peso for the buy. So maybe this is maybe one of the reasons the dollar needed to just keep gaining strength to get down to this level. And we haven't quite gotten here yet. So I am going to be patient. I will pull the trigger on this one because it's just been way slower to work its way down compared to everything else, which is the peso over here. So peso as well. And it's the capture of liquidity and then the rally right there. Okay, so after going back to just a quick update on indices, after we saw the spike down, we saw basically NASDAQ just played out of that zone right away. So a nice move, holding it down. Not too shabby. So what do I like right now with the market? I'm kind of into, so here's where we pulled back to rebalance. This lured in sellers for sure. For sure. So I do like sells or buys over here. We start to see the market drop. On the 15-minute, we kind of chop up a little bit one more time, a last sell-off, and then the market just rallies. So could we get buy positions with Dow Jones just over here? And then we'd be trading pretty high in the range. But I could see us getting a nice bounce out of this level and then just continuing the trend at this point. So I think it'll come down to, let's see how we trade up here. If we create some good demand or not. Otherwise, we can just continue and be patient for the market over here. But what I am seeing is, like, despite the market crashing with NASDAQ as well, came back up again, and then when it tried to drop, still holding it down really well. S&P, look at this. S&P is trading beautifully. So bullish. Similar to NASDAQ, how it kind of tanked on the open, but then it responded really, really, really well. So we saw S&P go down to here. So nice sell-off and then go absolutely bullish. So I would really consider seeing S&P want to play out of this zone. So I'm going to be mindful. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to be patient. Let the market come back down to fill in balance. See where everything else is when S&P is at a key level, where it could mitigate this sell-off. So we can see the market reverse out of there. Let's see where NASDAQ's at that time, and then same thing goes with Dow Jones over here. So we'll have a couple key things here. And that brings us to at this moment, looking at the majors again and kind of seeing where they're at. Are we in the market for buys? Are we seeing are things getting ready to turn around finally for the majors or not? And I don't want to jump the gun and start looking for buys because we barely started to see a little reversal. So I'm not quite there yet. And then as we're looking at this, are there any key signs for sells? Can we continue the trend to the downside? And unfortunately, I don't know, USD pairs just look extremely unconvincing in every way. Like, they just don't really see a short. I could see Australian sell-off. We have some liquidity here. We see the market take out the highs and then sell off, playing out of here as well. So this is just about the only short I could see from the market right now. And I would also just want to be mindful of, okay, where is, where's the rest of this market when the market gets over here? So I want to be mindful. I'm not going to send this because I do think it's important for actually I will send it, but I'll leave a note here. So AUD before I commit to a short on AUD, I'll be mindful of divergence with other USD pairs. Only selling if it's the lagger. Okay. Cool. Let's see. I'm just gonna post now, and then we can go back there if we need to. Ahora, ¿qué pienso aquí? No vendería porque hay liquidez arriba, como has indicado. So basically, I'm just saying there's because of liquidity here, I wouldn't look to short anything there. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that oil sell, that setup. That's what we actually went over together. Let's see. Okay. All right, good stuff. Peace and blessings, everyone. Look, what up, Amir? Yo, you know what's messed up is yeah, I hope everything goes well here. I'm really I got trust issues with these accounts on school because I got hella people making fake accounts. And they'll say like, "Oh, I'm disabled," and or like, "Oh, I'm a single father with 14 kids, and I have cancer," and then I'll accept them, and then I'll check, and then they're fake accounts, and they're just me, and I'll know because I can still see their username and I remember it. So I have like with this now. Oh my goodness. People be doing the most. People be doing the craziest things in here. So welcome, Keith, and hopefully you don't take it personal that I have, that I don't believe that people are who they say they are. So yeah, man. All right. So you said Nas is playing out nice. I mean, I wouldn't have taken this anyways on Nas. It's I would have wanted a much lower entry. The RR here would have sucked. Will the sneeze do its thing? Maybe, but we don't really have a trade yet, so we kind of need something else. Thank you guys. Oil 4 hour. Drop the chart. Let's see it. YM is the bull, so I don't think he'll go for the sell. Which sell? Dow shorts at 46,726. Oh, way up here? Nah. How it looks right now, I would rather not. Yeah, this thing is a raging bull. Man, I should have held my NASDAQ buy. I asked the scammers if they know about the lady strategies. What's up, Gio? What's good, bro? See you in a week. Yeah. All right. Nah, these scammers are crazy. This chick just got offended. You know what? I'll show you guys. This is what I got to deal with. I got to deal with all this stuff all the time. This lady was like, lady, she's like, someone invited me. And I saw where she's at, and I'm like, all right, there's a lot of fake accounts from these specific countries. They tend to be from there often, from these cities. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Who invited you then? And she's like, wow, I have to prove myself I don't want nothing to do with this community now. I was dying. There's no need to give you an answer. I saw the group description as an opportunity to learn trading, and then now I have to be screened to learn. I'm not impressed. Gaslighting is crazy. I'm just here to protect my people. Oh, man. All right, anyways. Yeah, so anyways, Intel, if you bought Intel with me, you are up a big old bag. Big old bag. 85% growth. What's good? Let's go. If you've been, I've been dollar cost averaging into Lululemon. I still think we can come back down a little more. So I am open to waiting, because I want to start the stocks challenge. So I might do it with Lulu, but also another play I wanted to do here is Kyndryl, which is a data processing company. So this one, and it's a lower market cap, so these can boom sometimes pretty well. Like for this just to come back to over here, it'd be like 15%. So we can get an easy 30, 35%, 40% growth move here. I think that could happen pretty quickly. I've been talking about Webull. I wanted to get you guys in there for this new setup, but I'm already in there. But I was wondering if we went lower, we could get another shot at it. It looks like it's starting to short pretty well from there. All right, let's look at this gold trade. We'll go back to stocks. There's not really a rush in there. But yeah, hopefully you guys are down for some new stocks entries too. Because guys, look, you got to build your portfolio just as much as like you're trading. Yes, trade up, get more cash flow. Like trading is for cash flow, investing is for net worth. Pretty simple. And it doesn't matter how much you make if you're not going to keep it. So as much as, I'm sure we're going to love to trade when we're in our 70s. I mean, it'd be nice to just let it, just live off of your investments. Have compound interest do its thing. So, okay, gold got up to the zone. What I don't love about this, though, is that silver is kind of lagging behind now. So silver is kind of being more divergent. It's giving us the lower high here. And gold broke above. So now we actually have a bit more of bullish momentum with gold when we had it before with silver. So I'm going to approach this with half risk. Just because only did it just now switched momentum. You know what I mean? Whereas we were good up until literally just now. But big picture, silver has been way more bullish. Like silver has just been on an absolute rampage. So in price action right now, yes, gold suddenly kind of picked up more bullish momentum, clearing out liquidity, clearing out these highs and playing into this level. So if you want to take the more guaranteed route, if you want to be in the market for sure, then you could start taking your sell position and maybe it plays out of here. If you want just a better risk reward and you think the market might want to target this imbalance over here, then yeah, wait it out a little bit longer and see if we get the move up a little bit higher here. Trading in our retirement. So it's up to you, but if you have time, if you have the ability to, right now, for example, we're living in the greatest, in my opinion, we're living in a time where we've never had as many opportunities. It's just, I think that statistically, there's never been a better time to be alive regarding really basically anything. And so if you are able to have time on your side, to compound, to build interest, to just have it do that, then take advantage of it. You know, like, why wouldn't you? Not everyone did. So run it up. I need to be here live every morning listening while I'm casing up my route every day. Pull up. Trading out retirement. Love it, Marty. I have a question, Mike. Let's say you invest into CELH at $20 and exit was at 50. Do you get rid of your whole position at the exit, or do you keep some of your portfolio overall? It just depends on everybody. Like, it just depends on what you want to do and what your perspective is on it. So yeah, I would say it just really depends on how you want. Like, do you have belief that this thing is that it has more to run? And then on top of that, see, now I feel way better about this. Dude, the shakeout would have been beautiful. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I have my eyes on gold, got my eyes on indices here as well. S&P is getting closer to kind of getting to this key area where this could mitigate. So S&P getting closer. NASDAQ really pushing down. I think we're going to see NASDAQ clear out some of this liquidity. Maybe it just clears these lows. I could see it. I'm going to be patient here. I'm not taking any trades on NQ by any means. But what is possibly also setting up is a nice little sell opportunity now on NASDAQ. Hello, beautiful. There we go. Okay. All right, so keeping that in the loop. Yeah, maybe this rejects out of here. Maybe. I think S&P still has to go down more. But also gold now is in this area. Like I said, I'm going to risk less on this example just because, like what I mentioned with silver, but I am in this trade officially. So this, I'm not in a full risk trade by any means, like I mentioned with just regarding where we're at with silver. So silver, if we take a look at silver over here, still kind of trading in here. If anything, honestly, silver kind of looks like a shakeout setup. Dropped down, chopped up for, 40 minutes, 20 minutes, and then came back up. So maybe there's a chance in here we get something. But like I mentioned, since gold was pushing so much more aggressively now, like price action flipped on this, I did see this with some vulnerability. So like I said, this is not a full risk trade for me because I do see you kind of lose some points, like for example, if this thing all of a sudden is more bullish in real time with just the current price action, it's not a 10 out of 10 setup anymore. So even though we had a liquidity sweep and the market worked its way down, since now all of a sudden silver is struggling or silver is more bearish than gold is, it just gives a lot of it's not giving us like all of the confidence and the momentum. So right now that's why I'm mindful of that, and I wouldn't want to risk the same amount of money. So right now the move here, if this thing drops basically like 60 something pips, then that would be a mitigation in my opinion, and then I would reduce risk. So yeah, I ended up getting in over here. Yeah, right there. So this is my entry here. See what we get. All right, so yeah, not taking anything with Dow there. Dow I'm still pretty patient with. And Q to me looks like it's going to want to take liquidity at least these lows here. If not, go for London lows. S&P still has more motive to go further down as well. All right. Gold approaching entry again. Okay. Looks like we might be getting at a drawdown here. All right. S&P now in the zone where it could reverse. Okay. Solid. Meanwhile, we have Dow here. So Dow's getting back to right around where it opened. New York open over here. It's actually holding it down pretty well. So honestly, we might get indices to buy from this zone because we have Dow still holding it down. S&P in this level. Where's NASDAQ? NASDAQ just broke the low there. So it got below that spike down that we saw with New York open. So if you were going to pull the trigger on S&P or Dow and just think that this is going to hold and run, then I get it. I mean, the market traded up here for 15 minutes or so. I didn't end up pulling the trigger or anything. It kind of bounced too quickly for me. But the sell-off here was about 6.75 points. This is already rejecting. This is basically already mitigating that. So this looks like it was the mitigation off the rip. S&P being the best trade basically at this point. Just bouncing instantly out of this area. And then just immediately coming right back down. So yeah, that to me looks like a pretty much a quality mitigation. If you look at like the 15-second, here was the sell. You see it drop to there. And then here's the buy, 6.75 on the way down, 6.25. So a little short of a mitigation, but I mean, at this point, like, seems like it could be it. The market's still holding down. Here was New York open for Dow Jones. So right now, could we still hold and could Dow still play out of this area? Honestly, maybe. S&P did miss by a little bit. So if you were going to long something, I could see it. This would be a mitigation. Technically, the other one missed by a very little bit. So, I mean, can we get a long out of Dow right here? I think it's possible. It's not bouncing as well as S&P is, though. So, and then you have NASDAQ that's just kind of creating more and more liquidity, in my opinion, over here. So ES just giving more and more signs for the buy. So the clearest buys, yeah, just continue to be S&P. However, I just don't know how well this is going to hold. I feel like these are just going to be the typical, like, you get a bounce, but then that was kind of it. So, yeah, you guys let me know what you think. All right, now we're pushing lower here. So, yes. Will it give us another bounce? Is it going to rip from here? So, this going up 6 points would be up to like here. Yeah, like all the way down there. All right, Dow pushing lower. Let's see, where's NQ? NQ going for that, for these lows. Here we go. Yeah, right here. I think it's got to push down a little bit more. At least clear. Like now we're starting to get below these London session where it was building up liquidity, trading sideways. Yeah, right over here. Now we're starting to see more liquidity right there. So there's more motive for this thing to go lower. Yes, we're starting to get a bounce up here now. But with this creating more liquidity here, sketchy. Don't really see hold up for too much longer. Yeah, so at some point this is going to come back for this. When? That's another question. All right, S&P, nice little bounce. Oh, and then gold here, right? Game over. All right, so our prediction was accurate on gold. Just seeing that there was more momentum going in here with silver was more bullish, so it didn't quite want to do that. Now, if you took S&P buys or if you were considering it, now we've seen ES officially mitigate that 6.75 points. So if you did take a buy anywhere in here, reducing stop or moving stops to break even, make the most sense. At least that's what I'm doing here. And then we saw Dow hold up this area well. So basically mitigated New York open as well. And now we'll see how this thing runs. See where it goes from here. I do think what I like now, so if I'm going to be like preparing myself for a new trade or anything like that, what I would want to do here is have an alert set for this sell on NASDAQ. This here, we had a nice sweep of liquidity. Gets up to this range, and then we see a huge push to the downside. The market now is trading down here, moving sideways. So I think we have more than enough evidence that we can get a short out of here at some point. So yeah, I just got tagged out, break even on S&P. And then yeah, so I wouldn't. That's why I was saying, like, I wouldn't force too much. Now that we have NASDAQ that could clear liquidity, it's pushing further down faster. Oh wow, S&P really did that, huh? The audacity. Rebalance and then pushed up again. That's good. So yeah. So what's the next approach? I think the most basic setup, the clearest setup is a short here on NASDAQ, at least right now. Regarding buys with indices, if I wanted to look for a buy setup, NASDAQ just seems to have a lot more bearish momentum right now. It's a lot closer to this area. So I would be pretty patient and see if we can get Dow Jones to trade all the way over here. So that's really where I see quite a bit of like a solid opportunity. I do understand the sell-off that we got during London and then the rally. So depending on kind of what the market looks like, I may or may not take that. So for example, if we're seeing S&P, I don't know, like if S&P clears out London lows, Tokyo lows, and NASDAQ is doing the same thing, and then let's say we're on the same track. So like NASDAQ's trading over here, and then Dow is trading exactly in this area, then I'd be open to taking a position here on Dow because everything is kind of lined up. Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't really be forcing it or anything. What have you been trading? What have you been enjoying about trading futures like ES? It's just indices. It's just similar. Justin Mills says don't buy, staying out. I mean, I caught a buy, and then I ended up break even. I mean, it's part of the plan. It's cool. Don't buy. I mean, transparently, like I would never do what someone else tells me to do as a trader at this point. But I mean, I appreciate the I appreciate the insight. Not because I have anything against anybody. It's just like, you know, I trust my system that I've built over the last 10 years. And yeah, I'm always willing to take a shot at what I see. So, and I think everyone has to do the same thing, like not taking a trade that I take. I think that's super valid. So hard to sit back and not take advantage of it. There'll be new trades. There'll be more trades. So no worries. All right. NQ starting to sweep, a little bit of liquidity. I think this is now we should start to get a bit more of a push. So seeing this clear all of this area should be more than okay. And then I think that'll bring us, same thing, taking S&P down to clear these London and Tokyo lows is going to be clean here. So I would wait it out. But yeah, Pierre, trading futures, it's the same thing as trading CFDs, man. It's literally all the same thing. It's just you have no spread, but, you know, you get filled based on who's on the other side of your trade. I don't really trade S&P ever. Yeah, it's very, 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 very rarely do I have an S&P trade. Usually Dow or NASDAQ. All right, so regarding your question, Larry, so for example, with Celsius, it depends how liquid you are, if you want to have more money to move around. So, for example, all right, so here's an example, right? With Celsius, this we bought at, you know, $22 or $23 in February. This is the one that I posted on my story too. And then I had my exit here where we could mitigate. So, and I took my profits at like 57 or 58. Now, this will depend on, so if I have multiple exits, which I do here, then in this example, like I took out half of my profits or half of my position entirely, and then I'm letting the rest run. And the only reason I do that is because now I have more liquidity. I can just cycle that liquidity into a different project that's sitting at lows rather than sitting at, you know, where we're sitting at. So that's why I went with that. But I wouldn't do that with everything. So, for example, it depends on the project. So when we were taking Peloton, and we bought this, when we were doing workshops, I was doing like a U.S. tour, and we bought Peloton at $3. So if you were at my workshops last year throughout the U.S., we took Peloton buys at $3, and then we rode this thing out to 10. So we got a nice 3x and change. Because this project, honestly, I just don't really, like, the numbers just don't look good, but they definitely had influence and a lot of marketing behind something like this. I was willing to take the short-term move, and then I cashed out fully because of the type of project it is. So, for example, another one that would be kind of like that, let's see, there was another project that's like kind of a high risk, high reward setup. Who was it? Someone sent me one that I was like, dude, this is not it. But I forgot what it was. But anyways, like, there's certain ones where like the project looks like the stock price action can look good, but if like they're not making any money, like if there's just a whole bunch of things wrong with the company in general, well, it might be more of a short-term play. You know what I mean? Like, for example, let's say Lucid. Lucid, I wanted to get us into entries here last week or 2 weeks ago when we were sub 20, but I wanted just a little bit more of a discount, my greedy ass, and instead this thing's up 20 to 25%. So with that being said, basically this project's not doing good financially. So would I ride this out for forever? No, this one is one I would be in and out of, catch, 40, 50%, take my gains. If we come all the way back, different story. Maybe we take another stab at it. But yeah, I'm a bit more conservative or aggressive with taking profit. Yeah. But right now, I think we're going to kick off this challenge with Kindrel here. And but yeah, I'll give you guys the upload probably Monday. If not, maybe later today, depending on how much time I have. And then we'll kick things off. But yeah, congratulations everyone on your gains with Intel. And then Chewy starting to really bounce back as well. So we're up in profits there. Yeah, that's about it. So if you guys want me to look at anything in particular relating to stocks, let me know. And then with crypto here, we have our entry right now. We are in the entry zone for this crypto challenge that I'm doing. Flipping 1,000 to a milli. Audacious, most definitely. But yeah, it's sitting right around entry levels. So I'm going to be holding this up until at least 0.047. And then that'll be our first 40% flip. And then moving on to the next one. Today, yeah, we have some base coins that are getting a little bit of a nice move. While, it looks like alts are kind of starting to kind of get a little bit more momentum. I think the Bitcoin dominance is starting to shift over. Yeah. All right. Back to indices. So indices, what are we seeing? NASDAQ bleeding out, getting into this imbalance where it could mitigate this level here. Dow almost at this mitigation zone as well. And then we have S&P that's getting really close to sweeping London session lows and Tokyo lows here. Really want us, once we get to clearance of this, if we clear liquidity here, and it lines up with this area, I'll take a Dow buy, a conservative buy. So I'll take probably a 2R. So it'll be something like, it would be. So a couple things need to line up. Price action needs to line up across the board with a couple things. But it would be something like this, and then just ride it out maybe at 2.5. We'll kind of see. We'll play it by ear here. But something, at least a little 2R. But that is going to be massively dependent on liquidity sweep here. NQ, trading into the imbalance where we could have, and this is what I said in the beginning of this session. Remember, I was like, look, you guys were asking if NQ was worth holding and just swinging, and I said that's what I was thinking yesterday. But based off of the price action that we saw during London, NASDAQ kind of became a lot more bearish relative to everything else. So I felt like NASDAQ may want to pursue and just go even lower than it had yesterday, since it didn't. It kind of missed a higher time frame area here. So we had here. We hadn't traded down to this. We didn't mitigate that FOMC push down. We didn't clear this out. So I think it's still valid for the market to come down to this area at some point. So I'm patient. Cracker Barrel. That's funny that people are, Cracker Barrel was the one that was messing around with their logo, and then everyone got pissed about it, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, they're the ones that were screwing around with their logo, and then everyone got pissed. So, yeah, this is all the way working its way back to this April. Remember in April, everything just tanked, and then the market just went nuts. After that's where everyone's like, oh my God, Trump is destroying everything. And then just the markets went fucking crazy. So what do I think about Cracker Barrel? Well, I looked into this because I remember the whole little logo thing, and I knew attention was going to be on this. So I did build a thesis around it. Let me just pull it up real quick. But from what I remember, basically it just wasn't really worth it. So let me pull this up here. Where is this thing? All right, here we go. So small cap, right? 1.5 billion. So it's very tiny. This thing can be influenced. It's actually at 1 now from where I looked it up. So I looked this up. What date was this? I think it was like end of August or something like that when it started to dump or whatever. And it's only, gone further and further down. I think it might have been like this or somewhere over here. And so yeah, it's even less now. So small market cap, whatever. Obviously, it's a national brand. Revenue has been declining the last few years. So yeah, it's kind of shrinking at this point. The margins are also going down. High food labor costs, so barely profitable. A 1 billion in long-term debt. They are 50 million in cash, so it's a lot of debt compared to like their size and the lack of revenue. So that's not good. They do pay pretty good dividends though, 7 to 8%. So that's pretty nice. But the payout ratio has not been over 100%, and then they could start cutting dividend as well. So yes, it's a well-known, brand, tons of locations. I don't really see a younger demographic in this. Yeah, these guys are, I don't know, I haven't seen the people that own this is like institutional. So yeah. Basically it's just, I don't see the upside in it. I think there's better plays. So could this be okay? Maybe. But do I see better plays with something like this? Yeah, this could recover just like it did over here. So it's been ranging in this area pretty well. So would this be something I'd put a lot of money into? Nah. But could this, bounce back, catch a little move here, make a nice little 30%, maybe even play up to here? Yeah, maybe. But I would prefer to have like just better numbers in general, and you can find that. So I'm cool. I'd rather not get caught up in it. All right, cool. Good question. Anybody else? Crypto, stocks, trading related? Let me know. Okay. This protein coffee, man. I'm telling you. Don't sleep on it. All right. Here we go. Let me look at the chat. All right. So, guys, I'll leave you to it. I got two options for longs. The first one being here, and then actually so this is kind of the first scenario. I'm gonna write this one out. All right, liquidity sweep, and then maybe a bounce here. This one's good. So let's see. Here's what I'm looking for. May or may not play this one out. Let's see. Let's unpin this. We've been live for a while here. If you're on, you're on. If you're not, you're not. And then, all right, move this to the top of the pack. So YM and ES, here's the chart. Here is this as well. And here we go. Okay. So I'd say would want to see ES sweep Asian London lows and simultaneously come into the YM zone to buy. Otherwise, waiting for the lower buy zone on YM. That's one. And then second would be the NQ short. This looks good. I mean, obviously we have Dow and ES also have like, similar pump and dumps there. So the shorts would be consideration for sure. I'm going to go one screen here. And then as of right now, I am leaning on NQ a little more. So let's see. NQ chart. Got that there. Sweet. All right, sweet. Saved. Oh, my bad. I just saw your chart. What? I can't. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, bro. You got a lot going on. I think we already played out of this zone, so I'm good on that. All right. Yeah, there it is, guys. These are all the setups for today. I'll pin them. Mark them up yourselves. When you do mark them up, go ahead and post them. If you want to do it as an exercise and you want to get feedback on your charts, feel free. Feel free to do so. Okay. Good session. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. What? What are we snapping? Yeah, guys, good stuff. I'll see you here on Monday. If you're not in our community already, in the free community, and you just kind of hopped on here and you want to join, scan that code on the left. And then for everyone here, if you want to keep evolving as a trader, if you want more hands-on accountability, have more of a personal trainer in it, then scan the code on the right, book a call. It is a 1-year program. We only take serious candidates. Just like if you're just like kind of figure out if trading is for you, don't do it. If you know it's for you and you've been doing this and you're not a beginner, then do that on the right. Get you right. But yeah, much love, guys. As always, enjoy your weekend. Make sure you journal. Drop your journaling in the community for accountability, and just as I'll be responding throughout the next couple of days as well. So peace out, fam. Stay on the lookout for uploads, and I'll catch you.